Today, we're here with Tanya Finney, who is one of Future Institute's facilitators and executive coaches. And we're talking about the elephant in the room, COVID-19, and how it's genuinely upended our lives over the last 3 to 4 weeks, particularly around how we work and communicate with our customers. And it's meant that we've really had to dig deep into our resilience tool bag to make sure that we remain our effective and productive selves. So it's been a lot to take in. Tanya, how have you found it?
Oh, look, yes, I've seen lots of interesting things happening around me, and as a wife, mother and business owner that suddenly also has to homeschool, I can certainly tell you that my day-to-day activities look very different than they used to, and it's adding stress and it's adding anxiety into our daily lives. Businesses suddenly have employees that has to virtually communicate that never used to do that. Or we have people that simply are essential workers. They have to go in every day and they feel compromised, they feel vulnerable, they feel at risk. So ultimately, stress and anxiety around us is just hanging in the air.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, my role is to meet with people and understand how we can add value to them, and doing that face to face has been the way that I've done it for many, many years, and a way of building rapport with people and really getting to know their challenges. And to do that online is much different, you know, and it's really it's changed my routine. It's been really challenging. So what can people do, Tanya? What are some of the things that are going on and how can we respond?
I love how you say changing your routine, because I think that is really the topic of the month at the moment. And as far as changing your routine goes, our habits and things that we do on a daily basis are actually sitting in our brain with these neuro-linguistic pathways that fire off every time that we have to create a new habit. And if you just think about you having brushed your teeth this morning, for example, you probably stood on the same spot, brushed your teeth with the same hand and went around your mouth in a similar way. And it wasn't really hard to think about it. It didn't take a lot of concentration. Someone could have probably walked in and had a conversation with you and you would have followed that without dropping the toothbrush. However, if I challenge you tonight to go and stand there on one leg and do it with the other hand than you normally use, I bet it's going to be a little bit more tricky. And it takes...
Won't be as autopilot, will it?
Correct. Well, exactly right. It takes time to form those new habits. And at the moment, we are feeling absolutely exhausted because we constantly have to fire off those new neuro-linguistic pathways and make new ways, new processes, come up with new ways in order to do things. And of course, that is quite exhausting and it taps our energy.
Yeah, and that's why we've developed this Building Resilience program that we're launching. And it's all about helping organisations help their staff transition through this period. So run us through the concept of the program, Tanya.
So there's basically 3 critical areas in the program, and each is preceded by some online learning with some online assessments. Each of these assessments has come about through vigorous academic testing and data that's been compiled. For example, the first critical area is around emotional intelligence, and participants will get an emotional intelligence assessment online prior to see where their strengths lie, because we really believe to operate from a strength-based approach and use those strengths to make us feel stronger and more flexible during this time. And of course, that area also will include what are your individual stresses that are very different to mine, for example, and how can you form new habitual emotional responses from knowing what your stresses are. The second section is all around change, and we can certainly all agree that we are surrounded by change at the moment. And there we look at how can we increase our flexible thinking, because that greater flexibility will take some of the anxiety away and will also help people to operate in this difficult time. And that's then followed by the third section, which is all around building resilience. But the program itself is quite practical and action-based, experiential type of learning. So in that last section as well, you'll definitely come up with some very practical things using our model of the 5 C's to come up with new ways to build your own resilience, which of course will not only be useful during this time of COVID-19, but certainly in the future in the workplace as well.
Absolutely, and that new normal that people are starting to talk about, I think, you know, this period of change is very disruptive, but it's also about you know, how we adapt to a new way of working, isn't it?
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah. So look, the program is, as you quite rightly said, it's an experiential way of learning, but we very much believe in a blended approach, and that includes some e-learning where they'll get some underpinning knowledge about the topics prior, and then they come along and they attend this virtual workshop, which Tanya will be facilitating, and we're using this Zoom technology, which allows us to break people into separate rooms. They use interactive whiteboards, there's polling questions, there's ways for them to engage much like they would in a normal classroom, and we're limiting it to 12 people to make sure that there's an intimate approach to each of the sessions that we run. There's the diagnostics that Tanya spoke about, which are really about measuring where they're at and giving some candid feedback as to how they're sitting at the moment. But also there is some downloadable workbooks that they'll have with additional information that they'll be able to take away with them and help them apply in the workplace. So look, we really want you to get in touch with us. There's a link within this video where you can find out more information, but we'd love to have a discussion with you about what's going on for your organisation at the moment and how we can mould this program to get it out to your teams. This is something Tanya's very passionate about. In fact, you're doing your PhD at the moment as well, Tanya.
I certainly am. My topic is actually around culture, specifically cultural intelligence. But of course, we're all exposed to different cultures in the workplace. We are surrounded by different cultures. And cultures are, of course, talk not only about ethnically where you're from, but also generational cultures and gender cultures. And during this time, we go back to that stereotypical thinking. So I'm currently writing a paper for an Irish psychology journal around mental health and COVID-19 and cultures, and how different cultures actually respond differently to this. And of course, knowing the tools and having the tools to read behavior of people and understanding why different people respond differently will also be a really good tool to have under your belt to help you through this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, look, thank you so much, Tanya. We look forward to getting this program out there, and please get in touch with us so we can have a chat with you about how we can make this program applicable to your organisation and rolling it out to your employees.
Great, thanks, Michael. Looking forward to working with all of you and building some mental agility.